Hey, all you Arizona lovers. This is the Finding Arizona podcast, episode number 377. I'm your host, Jose. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Today's episode is with Tammika, who is the Arizona Women of Purpose pageant champion. She is someone who is incredibly insightful and wonderful to talk to. She is actually, for those of you who are just starting out with school or just seeking out help for your student or someone who you think has secondary education needs, she is an advocate for you, and she is someone who is trying to educate others about those who need help in their early secondary education, college, community college, whatever that may be, and their helps and needs for going into those schools. So that being said, we're going to jump into a little bit of the business side. You can hear every episode of Finding Arizona Podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. We make it easy for you guys to connect with us social media wise. Everything is under Finding Arizona Podcasts. I hope that you guys are checking out our newsletter and our vlog and our blog, all available to you on the website. And if you guys are keeping up to date with us, you know that we have a giveaway, and that is something that we want to share more with you guys throughout the next couple of months. We have other opportunities for giveaways, prizes, things like that. We want to keep working with the people who come into our show and those around the valley who have businesses locally. We want to share their stories and share what they have to offer to us through you, the listeners, and it's all because of you guys that we're able to do so. So keep following us, like and subscribe to every episode. And as always, if you want to send us an email and tell us who you wanted next, that's at findingarizonapodcast@gmail.com. Just a little insight on what's going on behind the scenes. We are actually working on the next episodes. I just finished up a recording with a local pest control, and we are also going to be working on a couple of episodes or a couple of video portions for our blog. One being that it is going to be Indigenous Peoples Day coming up, so I'm going to be going to a festival for that, on top of which our little guy is getting so big right now. He transferred from his crib into his day bed, so he is actually just getting so big, and he just got back from dance class as well. So a lot of things have been going on with us. We're keeping up with you guys. We're trying to, at least. And then that being said, we're going to jump into this episode. New episode every week. This is episode number 377, and we will catch you next time. And as always, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends. Mine is right here taking a nap, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Who is a no woman?
She's ambitious.
She is a juggling life.
Oh, she is high performing.
She's self-made.
Definitely busy.
Woman supporter.
Cares about the rooms that she's going into.
Building an empire.
Definitely working in a male-dominated industry.
She is competitive.
And cares about impact.
And she's inspired by the word now.
Oh, completely relentless.
She is self-made.
She is a badass.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose, and as always, we bring in fantastic guests every week, and today is no different. I would love to introduce the audience to Tammika. How are you doing, Tammika?
I am fabulous. Thank you, Jose.
No problem. And as you can tell, if you're watching this through our video format, Tammika is going to tell us a little bit about what she just won or what she is taking a part of. And so I'm going to let her take the floor and just introduce what she is wearing and what she is doing and talking with us today.
Thank you. So I'm Tammika Banks, and I'm also known as Mrs. Arizona Woman of Purpose. I dedicate myself to helping teens navigate through the college admissions process to find their best fit college.
Awesome.
The Woman of Purpose pageant gave me a chance to get my message out there and help support other women who are also involved in community service.
Oh, awesome. So you are a fantastic guest to have and talk about this period in life where it's transitional and it's transitioning into new things and exciting things as well too. So I would love to first ask you how pageants in particular came into your life as a something that you enjoy doing, I assume. But just kind of the origin story of like how you in particular chose this path.
So it's a funny story, actually. I had some friends who were doing a vision board,
Hmm.
and I had never done one. And so I actually just looked up Facebook events in my area, and I went to a vision board party, and it just happened to be hosted by Simone Davis, who
Oh
is the
wow.
pageant director of this pageant. And
Yes.
once she told me about Women of Purpose and how it helps women who have been counted out and who have overcome adversity stand resolute and showcase how they give back to their community, I just had to get involved.
Wow. And I mean, again, what a thing to happen for something new for you as well as like you're trying to try something out new, and lo and behold this just falls into your lap, and so that's very exciting. And I'd love to more ask too is like, has your family or anyone else participated in pageantries, or is this kind of like a really new thing altogether for your, yeah, I guess for you and your family?
So, two of my mom's sisters, one who I'm named after, my Aunt Tammy,
Yeah.
and my Aunt Ingrid, both participated in modeling and like walking the runways, like when they were in high school, but
Nice.
never in a million years did anybody think that anybody in our family would do any type of pageant whatsoever. So I am the first.
Got it.
So my family looked at me a little bit crazy when I told them I was doing a beauty pageant. I said, I know, I'm usually the cheerleader for people. I'm not
Yeah.
usually the one out in front. So
Wow.
this has been a very terrifying and growth experience all in one.
I can definitely attest to that, where I'm basically I'm not much of the look at me kind of person, or be in the
Mhm.
front. I like to be the cheerleader particularly. So again, I just thank you for letting us insight, because it also says the kind of person you are. You're extending yourself out of your comfort zone and allowing this to be a new part of your life, and just trying to understand it, wrap your hands around it, and be a participant in all its glory. And so, can I ask you about the couple of, I assume, days leading up, how you felt, and then on the moment of receiving this award, what it felt like?
Oh my goodness. So from the time I joined the pageant, which was late last year, I represented the city of Queen Creek because
Mhm.
that's where I lived.
Okay.
And anytime we had to go to an event and had to put on my sash and crown, I got nauseous. I got like, oh my God, what if people are going to come up to me and start talking? Because as
Yeah,
we go through the training, it's like, that crown and sash, people are going to want to talk to you. People are going to want to know. And I'm
exactly.
usually the ones like sort of hiding in the background when it comes to like my personal life. So business, I'm all business.
Hmm.
I've been um, in the mental health industry before. And so I was there leading the groups. But my personal life, I was just like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? So it was a lot of prayer,
Yes.
a lot of, you can do this. I have my own cheerleaders. My husband's a big advocate
Hmm.
for me. He was super excited that he finally got married to a beauty queen. So that was very helpful in that process.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until a couple of days before we actually had the pageant last month that
Hmm.
I sort of settled in.
Okay.
And then I was just like, my mom and my aunts, my all came to the pageant
Hmm.
to support me. So having them there, part of the pageant, we represented our culture. So I was able to bring them up on stage with me. It sort of helped me settle in and I got
Yeah.
more comfortable. And so pretty much when the curtain went up, I just did like a sort of a 360. And now I don't feel that anxiety
Mhm.
when I put the crown and sash on. And that's like the biggest accomplishment up to date that I
Yeah.
can say that how this pageant has sort of helped me boost my self-confidence.
That's awesome. I love hearing that because again, you can, I guess, in those moments where people are, trying to do this pageant where you feel those emotions come up, and particular to those who don't win, it's just that kind of, and like the feeling of regret or anything like that. I can definitely emotionally relate or kind of emotionally understand how might someone feel after something like this and not receiving an award. So I say that for these moments, it's a very good testament to see and understand the winners also perspective of like, oh wow, they went through this whole journey and now they get to receive the joys of having an accomplishment that comes along with it. So I kudos to you. I mean, this is really something that is definitely out of my comfort zone, but I can tell like it was out of your comfort zone as well. And so as you said you brought up kind of your personal work that you do. I'd love to understand a little bit more about like, yeah, that aspect of what you're representing in this, helping the teenage aspect and just some of the stuff that you work on personally and why it's so important to you and what keeps you motivated to do it.
Truthfully, what keeps me motivated to do it is because I don't want anyone to go through what I went through
Hmm.
going through the undergrad process.
Okay.
Just a little bit about my family. A lot of my family members struggle with learning disabilities.
Okay.
My siblings, we all have learning disabilities. My dad dropped out of elementary school in the third grade because he had severe dyslexia.
Oh wow.
And so I've seen the struggle just getting through the normal education process. I was
Yeah.
the first one out of my five siblings to want to go to college.
Hmm.
Um, my dad's side of the family was very like farm, salt of the earth people. Higher education was not a high priority. So then that was like sort of my first barrier is getting into
Yeah.
college. And so I got into college, didn't know what I was doing, came from a relatively small town to a big city, and I just got lost
Yeah.
because I didn't have necessarily skills I thought I was ready to leave home.
Hmm.
And looking back, I wasn't. I
Okay.
went through three different undergrads before I finally figured out my right fit college, which happened to be a college down the street from my parents' house. So I feel like if I had me or a version of me back then to be able to help and guide me to really
Hmm.
ask me like why are you going, what are your passions, what are you looking for, and let's sit down and explore. I mean, there's over 5,000 different colleges just here
Yeah.
in the United States, so it's overwhelming. And so for these kids, I get it. We get some, they don't know what they want to do. Their parents might be pressuring them to go to college.
Hmm.
All their friends are going to college. So they know they want to go or they think they want to go.
Yeah.
So I'm there to just sort of listen to them, try and figure out what they want and help guide them to, from what you've told me from our experience together, these would be my recommendations. Take some time, go
Yeah.
tour them. You can do it virtually, in person. Just get comfortable so they can make that decision and they don't have to go through three, or they don't have to get there and change their major because we've
Hmm.
already went through all the process. I want them to just be more, first of all, relaxed in themselves and knowing who they are,
Hmm.
instead of back in the day, we'd go to college and try and figure out who we are by the time we get there.
Yeah.
These kids need if things are moving so fast with social media, with technology, I'm just trying to get them a leg up on
Yeah.
let's figure out what you want to do first before you make this investment into a college.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things and takeaways that I had for my freshman year. I grew up on a small Indian reservation up north, near the Four Corners, and being even accepted into a college, I knew was going to be, well, one part, it was one, I wanted to go to college. I didn't know about community colleges, what the like, acceptance rate, like things like that. So
Right.
I had zero knowledge bases on how secondary education worked. And so when I got into it, and this is a funny story, I didn't know I was accepted until I got my financial aid. And so I had to like ask, like so I was just like, oh wow, I got financial aid from, yeah, I went to ASU, and so I got financial aid from ASU, and I was like, wait, so does this mean I'm accepted? I had to like call my person that worked there, and I was like, oh okay, so I guess I got accepted. I didn't. It was the weirdest thing. So it was a humble and pleasant surprise, but even after that, like understanding the what you want as your degree,
Mhm.
didn't understand what the like, you know, what kind of education process, like how many classes, how, you know, what kind of classes,
Right.
that sort of thing. And it just really had to take my time and really be hands on myself as the student to try and, you know, go to the financial aid building, go to my advisor more, and just really kind of learn as I go, which is
Right.
not always the greatest things, because I felt in particular that I didn't have the right, you know, right things, the right stuff, the right whatever it may be, to be in the degree that I was already, like my first one that I chose, which was architecture. It wasn't until probably the next following year, or the during between the two freshman and sophomore year, that I actually felt more comfortable and I understood a little bit more, and I could actually say, oh, well, no, I'd like to transfer into this other thing. And it's, you know, it can be daunting. It can very much, if you're not educated or even given a person like yourself,
Mhm.
it just really can feel like you're two steps behind everyone else. And
Right.
that I can definitely say, um, I'm glad that there is someone like you who wants to change that. And it makes me feel happy that there is someone like yourself who has the platform to be heard and to allow themselves to connect with students and connect with the crowd that needs it. So thank you for choosing that and allowing people to have a voice.
Yeah. I mean, your story speaks to me so much. It's the kids like us that I want them to know, like, hey, you don't have to go through it
Mhm.
alone.
Yeah.
That there is support. There's not very many education consultants
Mhm.
actually in Maricopa County. There's less than 10.
Wow.
But we are here.
That's awesome. Thank you again for telling, like, sharing your story so that I could get my little slice in there as well. But I'd love to just again move back towards the pageantry and get
Mhm.
what you're going through right now after winning. We talked a little bit off air. This was one of your very first podcasts, and I know that there's going to be some more interviews and some more things for you. How are you feeling as far as like this kind of interviews, like having to put yourself out there a little bit more after the award ceremony and after receiving this? Do you feel, you know, a little bit more comfortable because you've been through the training? What's it, you know, give us a little bit about what it looks like to afterwards.
So afterwards, it's like, yay, we did it. We had this big accomplishment. Okay, now what are we gonna do?
Exactly.
And so just thinking about like who who needs to hear my message?
Mhm.
Where are those people? Where can I find those people? Um, we got really lucky on we had an interview with Fox 10 News,
Oh,
and the
nice.
person that came out was just amazing. He sat with us, he talked with us for a little bit before we started the interview process, so that made it nice, similar
Yeah.
to my experience today with you, it talking and getting to know the person. Sometimes when, or at least for me, when I think of doing a podcast, doing an interview, it's just
Hmm.
like, okay, you have to be on it. You're just going to write on. But
Yep.
just knowing that, no, everybody is just people. And,
Exactly.
it doesn't have to be scary.
Yep. Exactly.
So I'm definitely more comfortable as I go through and do these.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know how I'm going to feel when I'm put in like a live situation.
Mm.
That's sort of like my next step
Yeah.
on where can I go to spread my message and do it like live on the spot.
Hmm.
Because even before this, I would get super nervous. Like even if it was a topic I know, everybody gets a little bit of stage fright.
Yeah.
Um, so just being able to be like, you know what, we're all human. If I mess up, I mess up. it just shows my vulnerability and my more humanistic side
Yeah.
to myself. It makes me a little bit more relatable, I think, to people instead of sort of coming off all stiff. Because stiff, I'm not. I'm very comical. I'm loud. Um, so um, just being able, I partner with two amazing women who one is in the mental health field and one is another education consultant. So I go out with them. I am talking to them. A couple of days ago, we did a road to colleges at a high school to get information to students. So I hope to do more than that, go into some of the local high schools to let them know, community events, to let them know about the services and that
Yeah.
there are choices and there are help for people here in Maricopa County.
Awesome. That's really great. Have you done any of those with the crown on yet? Or
No,
okay.
that's what I'm building up to. Like, so
Okay.
obviously, like the Fox 10 News interview, we had the crown and sash.
Yeah.
Going to the high school, I was like debating. I'm just like, and again, being the person that I am, I want the focus to be on others, not
Yeah.
myself. And this
Yeah.
is a big beachhead.
Yeah, that
So
is it.
going
It stands out
going
just a
in,
tad.
yeah, so going into somewhere when I'm trying to like provide information, like
Mhm.
I'm still getting through those things. So I'm toying with a few
Mhm.
ideas on being a little bit more comfortable going to some community events and standing at one of the booths with the crown and sash on
Yeah.
to sort of rip the band-aid off and get out
Exactly,
there.
right? I mean, again, it's just one of those moments where you hope that you can you split away from your discomfort and just really be able to embrace the moment of the live situation. I think you're going to do just fine because it seems like you have a good head on your shoulders where it's like you get the moment, you get what you're being asked on these two different parallels, which are, the education system and then the pageantry as well. There's going to be a little bit of questioning of both. So I think you'll be just fine in that scenario. The one aspect I would like to kind of dive into is just like how much of this has made you just feel like more purposeful or like more embracing of this kind of where you see yourself, just being an advocate for these students and being an advocate for the education area. It's like, how much more do you now have on your shoulders?
I feel like anytime I share my purpose and my story, people are
Hmm.
like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, I wish I would have had that when I was, going through the process. So it gives me drive to know, okay, like people need this. I'm
Yeah.
not just thinking like me and my family are the only ones
Yeah.
that need this. So I feel pressure on letting people know, hey, this is out here, but I'm also a self-proclaimed workaholic. So I
Mm.
also need those people around me to be like, hey, you can't be in Santan Valley and then drive out to Maricopa in the same day. Like we need to have some limits because
Yeah.
that's where I go to is I want to help everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need to rein it in. And so
I
I
get it.
feel that pressure. Like I hear things about in the media about how like people are like, do we need to go to college?
Mm.
Or, there's a
Yeah.
lot of kids, they want to they want to be a YouTuber. They want to be like famous on
Yeah.
social media. We have these amazing people that didn't necessarily need to go to college, but are they sending a realistic right message to the youth?
Yeah.
And so just being that advocate on, regardless of what they decide, I want to be there to support you. College is not
Absolutely.
for everybody. I'm not advocating for saying that, but I'm saying if you need that support, we're here to support you.
Yeah.
If college isn't for you, let me help you find where you should be going. I mean, we have
Yeah.
a lot of like vocational schools here.
That's what I was just going to say. There's
Big
different
fan of
types.
EVIT.
Yeah.
Love EVIT so much. So just I want students to know, like, if they need somewhere to sort of block out the noise, their parents are pressuring them to
Hmm.
go to a certain school they don't want to go to, or all their friends are going to college and they're not sure if college is right for them, that they have that advocate. Yes, I would love everybody to go to college. I think it was an amazing experience. Even though I went through three of them, I learned something about myself and about the school and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah,
It definitely opens a lot of doors.
I love
Um,
that.
but I'm not naive in knowing that it's for everybody. I just want to let
Absolutely.
them know, hey, if you need somebody to chat with, I am available to be that
Beautiful.
person for you.
Beautiful. I think that's really great. That's really wonderful to hear. And knowing that, again, someone who is a realist and just really kind of has the grasp about, what's good for the whole, like everyone, and for, everyone's different. So I really do respect that and appreciate that, because that is something that, again, my brother, um, he wasn't so much a kind of a secondary school kind of guy. He was more vocational, and but he did go to school, and so that was just something that I feel like for him, if he would have just pivoted a little bit, he probably would have felt like a little bit more comfortable. He probably would have felt a little bit more in his zone and in his comfortability about doing certain things. But he muscled through a lot of his education, and now he's really doing great on his own. He has a family of his own. He's got two kids, and now he's just really thriving. And so I appreciate
That's
the
awesome.
understanding aspect of it. So there are some goals that we typically ask everyone who comes in through our doors. I'd love to understand not only from your time in this reign that you have here, but I'd love to understand your goals as your personal goals as well, what you hope to accomplish in maybe the next year, the next 2 years, etc. Give us some goals so that our listeners may be able to help you.
So, goal number one is getting the word out there that there are education consultants.
Yeah.
We work for the families and for the teens. We don't work for colleges,
Hmm.
and that we can be an advocate to help the families decide. Um, we work, you know, across state lines. We have a core group in Arizona, but if, let's say, a kid wants to go to New York and we don't have anybody here that necessarily knows all the ins and outs, we can reach out to our counterparts in New York
Okay.
to get that information. So, number one, just letting people know, over the next year about the service and that it's there for them. For me personally, um, I'd say probably going on close to about 15 years ago, I was a DCS case manager
Okay.
for Arizona. I have a huge heart for foster youth. Um, so being able to partner with those organizations to take some of this information to them as well. They were the first kids that I helped get into college,
Mm.
which was ironic because I was helping them get into college as I was fumbling through. So I didn't provide the best advice. I went with what I knew back then.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a little bit wiser. So being able to help them, because I feel like a lot of them get lost. They have
Okay.
these great ambitions, but they don't necessarily have the support around them to be
Yeah.
able to get those next steps. And being able for people to understand that college doesn't have to be expensive. There's so many different things out there that they have access to, that they just need that help and guidance in
Mhm.
figuring out. Uh, Big picture dream goal is to have almost like a community center. Like I
Oh,
said, I'm a
nice.
mental health counselor and I'm an education consultant. So I have partnerships in the mental health world and in the education consulting world. That way, if I have a kid who comes to me that might be struggling with their mental health, and so them and their family are worried about them going to college, we can help advocate for them. We can help them
Mm.
know, okay, these are the schools that are going to be able to support you the best based
Hmm.
on like what you're telling us. It might be getting services through like vocational rehab services.
Yeah.
So just being sort of that one-stop shop to be able to help families. Um, that's why I love living in Queen Creek in Santan Valley. Even though I am a city girl, I love this country style feel.
Yeah.
And so just being able to give back to a community that has been so loving and nice to me and my family. I've moved away from Arizona 3 times,
Mm.
and twice I've moved back to that same area. Um, so being able to just partner with the city and with the schools there and just sort of grow and blossom.
I love that. That means so much, especially from coming from someone who's moved away from the community and has rejoined multiple times. It's a testament to what's out here and what is available, and just kind of the harmonious things that can come out of a place like this desert and just this location. I always say that Arizona is a special place when it comes to certain things, and I think one of the best things is people keep coming back. People from all
Hmm.
sorts of places end up here, and they find themselves staying. That's how
It's
how
such
my
it's
wife
such
is.
a it's such a melting pot.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. Like it's fun. We always joke because it's very rare that meet somebody that was born and raised here.
Yeah.
Like
Very
I
much so.
know like a handful of people that were born and raised here. Most of
Yeah.
all my friends have moved here from some other state, which I absolutely love.
And I can be the first to second that, because I mean, we're going close to 400 episodes now, and we probably met only a handful of I mean, there was one that was like a fifth generation, and that was cool. That was cool to me because I was like, no way. And yeah,
Yes.
it's like you can tell because it's like she was so proud. Her great grandfather has a statue in Mesa, and like a plaque or
Oh,
something like that. It was really cool, and so
that's so
she's
awesome.
um, it's kind of nice to know that there are people that are like a fully grown up here,
Fully.
and their
Hmm.
family ties are here. But again, it's like very rare handful that I've met that are straight from here, and it's nice to know that we have a particular kind of like the best, I want to say melting pot, like the best of the best sort of thing,
Hmm.
where it's like, there's enough room for everyone to share who they are, but also at the same time, it blends so well with those who are
Yeah.
already here. So it's really great, and a great opportunity. And it says a lot that you've chosen your neck of the woods and come back to it more than once. And again, one of the questions that we usually ask here is, what has this community provided to you? And it sounds like it's provided a lot in the sense of family ownership and who you are in particular. So I really do appreciate what you've kind of shared with us today. And I like to really want to ask you kind of a fun question here, and
Okay.
just kind of um, how many of your family members want to put on the crown and sash and does your husband polish it for you or anything like that? Something just fun to you leave our conversation with.
So I haven't been home since we just had the pageant last month.
Okay.
All my family actually lives in Southern California,
Okay.
where I grew up. So I have a feeling when I go home to visit, it might get passed around a little bit. Um, my husband, I was actually almost late getting to the office today because he had to take a gazillion pictures
Oh.
before I walked out of the door because again, crown and sash, um, full on makeup, and that's not typically me. So he's just like, I have to take as many pictures as I can. So
Exactly.
I know when I'm going to see this one when I get.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like he's a great supporter of you. And just again,
Yes.
I'm the same. I'm the same boat. I love being that cheerleader. I love being whenever she does something that she thinks isn't. Again, I'm always an advocate for everyone, and so that's really great that you were able to have that little photo shoot moment with your husband. That's really funny to me. That's really it's different, and it's one of those
Hmm.
situations we love different here. We love leaving with a smile on our face, but as we finish up our conversation, I do let the audience I let you tell our audience where they can find you online, any events that you have coming up, anything and everything that you want to promote. The floor is yours. Go take it away, Tammika.
Okay. Well, so the name of my company is College Finder Now. You can find me at collegefindernow.com. The office phone number is 480-382-1567. And whether they drop me a message through the website or they give me a call, we can have a free 15-minute phone consultation with me. And based on our conversation, I can sort of help direct them to the best service for them. One of the partners, which I'm at her office today, I'm actually going to be teaching a college application
Nice.
class to some students that we work with here at Class 101. Class 101 is in Mesa. They serve the Mesa Gilbert area. But one thing I didn't mention is that if kids don't have to be local. We have kids that are in different states that call and want to work with us. Obviously, we're going to be doing that, virtually, not in person, but we can see the kids in person. I do plan on seeing kids pretty much like where my family is located. So California, I'll be doing events there.
Nice.
I don't have anything right away planned, but I do plan on doing some pop-up seminars to get the word out, to provide college tips and tricks. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. So that's where if I go to an event, if I go do a college tour, I will be posting there.
Awesome.
We do have some college tours coming up here. I'll be posting those a little bit later today, so kids and families will have time. They're in October, so they have time to plan, but they're here locally to go out.
Awesome. I'm very excited for you. I know that you're going to do really great things with this this kind of combo of who you are personally and who this pageant winner represents. And just like, again, this title, it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interesting and a lot of fun. So kudos to you. Congratulations again. And I wish you nothing but the best. And as we always end our podcast with, you can catch every episode of us at findingarizonapodcast.com. Social media wise, we're available everywhere under Finding Arizona Podcast. If you would like to send us an email at findingarizonapodcast@gmail.com, we would encourage that. Tell us who you want in next and we'll try and make that happen. And as always, we end every podcast with kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends. We will catch you next time.